The first scary movie from 2000 from the Wayans brothers was an instant classic, and I think it has kind of stayed that way. I honestly think it's one of the best comedies of, well, I guess the last 20 years now. Uh, Probably, undoubtedly, one of the best spoof movies of the last 20 years, though there's been a lot of turds in that category, including some of its sequels, unfortunately. The second film, also from the Wayans brothers, it was a disappointment, though it had a lot of good scenes. I mean, especially the opening scene with, the Exorcist spoof, I thought was really, really good. And the same kind of raunchy humor that, I enjoyed. But I was disappointed by that movie, and I think it's quite as good. And then they kind of jumped ship a little bit and they passed the torch to the Zucker brothers. David Zucker directing this third film, Scary Movie 3. And I've always kind of had mixed feelings about it. Like, there's one thing where it's like, okay, we have a completely new team behind this. Like no one like from the writing returned from the other two movies, and we have a shift in kind of humor in that it was a PG-13 movie, which is disappointing. And just also the like when you think about the first movie, it does a lot of spoofing, but its main plot mainly combines Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, which blend together so well, and it's like almost perfectly compatible, right? And then when the second movie came along and they did the whole haunted movie angle, that felt pretty natural too, because I don't know, all haunted house movies are kind of the same. Just get everyone together in a haunted house and you can spoof as many haunted house movies as you want, really. And that's what they did. But here, with Scary Movie 3, it seems the intent is just to knock on whatever most current popular movie there is at the time, which started this whole trend with not just the scary movies, but with all other kinds of spoof movies like date movie, disaster movie, epic movie, all that bullshit, which all those movies were just terrible. So here in Scary Movie 3, with this new kind of shift in direction, we have a film that mainly spoofs Signs, fair enough, The Ring, fair enough, but also 8 Mile, I guess, and The Matrix. So I don't know. It all kind of blends this stuff together in kind of a strange way. And at least I'd say maybe the two main movies are The Ring and Signs, which it's fair enough, I guess, in the way they contrive it all together. It's like, okay, well, we have the tape. You put it in 7 days, you'll die. All that. In the opening scene, of course, there's Pamela Anderson and Jenny McCarthy in their cameos. Being the dumb blondes and stuff like that. And all that's pretty much the same, except as we learn is in a similar way to the first Ring. We have an investigative journalist played by Anna Faris playing Cindy from the first two movies, so there's still continuity there. She had a new hair job, though. She's blonde now, I guess, to match Naomi Watts, or just her own hair. I don't know, but the connection there is that there is also this lighthouse that she journeys to and finds out that this couple adopted a daughter and killed her and put her in a well and all that. And I don't know, it makes about as much sense as The Ring does, let's be honest. I mean, that movie's kind of contrived too, but whatever. And I guess they connected in a sort of way to Signs, where also in Cindy's journalistic journey, there's these crop circles showing up, and are the aliens and this tape connected? Well, yes, they are, but the aliens simply, they just like picked up the footage on their satellite, and they had to come to try and stop the girl, and that was basically it. That's the main twist. I guess I spoiled the deep intricate plot of Scary Movie 3, so if I've spoiled it for you, sorry, but the movie's been out for a while now. So I mean, all that's kind of silly, and it only got worse as the movies went along. But I don't know. I've seen the movie a lot of times. I've watched it quite a bit when it first came to DVD, and Well, I've definitely watched it more in the second movie, and I can say at the very least it's better than the second movie. And yeah, I mean, I do really. I wish they went for a more raunchy approach. I wish they went for the R-rated kind of potty humor that the first two did to kind of keep consistent with that. But having watched it again recently, I I don't feel that bad about it. I don't feel that resentful, I guess, if I ever felt that way about this movie at some point, because I mean they definitely get away with a lot of kind of risky humor, a lot of edgy humor and stuff like that. Especially like when you consider kind of the comedic climate of today, where everyone's a little bit more sensitive about certain issues, which fair enough, whatever. But here, there's a lot of kind of inappropriate humor, and it's pretty funny. Like Michael Jackson jokes, priest jokes, uh, race jokes, things that maybe you wouldn't really see as much of today. I guess I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows? But on the whole, I mean, I think it's a decent movie. Has a lot of good laughs. Has a lot of callbacks to previous Zucker productions, like uh, Cindy echoes the famous Leslie Nielsen line, like is maybe women's intuition, ESPN. I just have a feeling, things like that. Or and Leslie Nielsen is in the fucking movie, and he does repeat some of his lines too. You think you're excited? Feel these nipples. I just want to say good luck. We're all counting on you. So that's great to see. It's great. God, I miss Leslie Nielsen. He was the man. He was the best. One of the funniest actors to grace the planet. You are dearly missed, Leslie Nielsen. And all in all, it has a really good cast. Again, Anna Faris returning, and not to knock her work in this series at all. She went up to the fourth movie. I didn't see the fifth, so maybe, just maybe, she has like a little bit of a cameo or something like that. Who knows? But she had her own series. That's pretty cool. That like one single person can uh, go through four movies in this overarching spoof series. You don't see that too much. Like not even Leslie Nielsen. He could have done a fourth Naked Gun, but he didn't, unfortunately. So I'm impressed by that, and I give her credit for that. And we have returning character. Like for some reason, Brenda returns. Even she's like kind of like the Kenny of the series. Like she'll keep on dying in the movies, or coming back, coming back. And the stuff with her is really funny. When she sees the tape, and she's like, oh, black people are getting beat up by police every day, and there's some white girl in a well, and they have to put on the news. Cindy, your TV's leaking, things like that, and like just like playing gags on her, and like setting her hand on fire and like foaming at the mouth. Ah, got you with the old seizure trick, things like that. Really funny. Um, Charlie Sheen is introduced into the movie as a new character, and he absolutely has his cred too from the Hot Shots movies. So he definitely has his spoof comedic chops. Though he's done other comedies, but I don't know. I think he's at his best when he does these kind of off the wall spoof kind of stuff. Um, and who really knew at the time who Kevin Hart was? I mean, this must have been like the first high profile kind of. This was before 40-year-old version, where like a lot of people started noticing him in that, even when it was a small role. But here, this must have been the first kind of big thing that he was in. We love you, Kevin. He was like in an accident recently, so we're all rooting for you. We love you very much, Kevin Hart. And well, I mean, just a lot of fun. Like George Carlin shows up in the movie. Queen Latifah shows up in the movie. Lots and lots of people in the movie, and it's quite entertaining. And for what it's worth, I mean, though it doesn't have the raunchiness, like there's no, like, obviously, since this isn't the first two movies, there's not going to be a big splooge joke or anything like that, or like a clown penis, doing whatever. But they get away with a fair amount. And I don't know. I mean, I feel that it is kind of more of like a corporately put together kind of movie. Like you can kind of feel like they just had to, I don't know, look at it in more of an objective way, which is kind of contrary to how comedy should be. Comedy should be, you know, I don't know, more specific, more natural. Like you feel like with the first Scary Movie that the jokes and the observances all kind of come from a very real place of people who actually sat down and watched these movies and had an opinion on them and wanted to poke little holes in them in their film, and they indeed did that. The Wayans with the first two films, so I give them credit to that. Here it's just, well, let's just throw in these jokes. Who cares if they're really applicable to the movies or not? In having watched the DVD so many times, I'm sure there's a lot more I have learned about how they made this movie than I would have liked to have known. I guess like I'm sure at some point I've watched all the making of stuff and the audio commentaries and things like that. Like of course PG-13 films, they're infamous for only being allowed one f bomb in the movie, and I think they struggled with, well, where do we put it? And so like that was like the big struggle of the movie, and I think they did a good job because like the f bomb in the movies in the classroom. Brenda's a teacher, right? And like someone throws some pencils. Like, who the fuck did that? So I thought that was pretty funny. The alternate option would have been at the end when Samara or whoever the spoof version of the girl from The Ring is, she's pretends to be good and redeemed, and she's like, I was just screwing with you. They considered her to say, I was just fucking with you at that point. So I think they made a good choice, and just a lot of stuff that they ripped from the movies. Like I think they like straight up admit that, oh yeah, we didn't see this movie, we just watched the trailer, but we got the general idea of it, things like that. And if you watch like the deleted scenes, there's a lot more with the Matrix-y kind of stuff, with like spoofing the Agent Smith brawl from the second movie, from Matrix Reloaded, which is just stupid. And like the aliens are originally, they're much more elaborate costumes, but instead they just opted for kind of cheesy silver leotards and goofy masks. And I think it's Tom Kenny voicing the alien, SpongeBob. So that's kind of cool. So a lot of stuff that kind of made a more objective business corporate kind of, I don't know, assemblage of this movie. So take that for whatever it's worth. But I mean, at the end of the day, is it a funny movie? Do the spoofs kind of ring at least a little bit true? And I think they do. I mean, a lot of this stuff from like the Signs, uh, jokes, I think they work pretty well. They have the guy who like looks like M. Night Shyamalan, who does the cameo in all his movies. Like, of course, kills Charlie Sheen's wife, who's the priest. He's the Mel Gibson character. Uh, and it's Denise Richards, by the way, who was his wife at the time, which was the joke. So maybe dated in that sense. But like the part where he's like, "Hey, I'll need a ride home." That's kind of funny. If I hadn't had that exact bottle of Jägermeister, or I haven't fallen asleep at that exact time, things like that. Funny, like poking in the kind of sillier aspects of Signs. And I like, again, I don't know how 8 Mile fits into it, or how like Simon Cowell from American Idol showing up at the fucking rap competition. Like, I mean, it's all kind of goofy stuff, but I don't know. I laughed. There's some good lines, like not just the lines they repeat from previous Zucker movies, but there's some good gems here and there. I thought when Brenna mentions that she saw a tape to Cindy, she's like, "Oh, that tape! I had never had vodka before. It was my first Mardi Gras. I needed beads." So I don't know. I thought that was funny. And Charlie Sheen ragging on his brother, who's supposed to be like the Joaquin Phoenix character from Signs. He's the one trying to be the rapper. He's like, you got to give up on all these adolescent fantasies. Astronaut, cowboy, gynecologist to the stars. I don't know. I thought there were some good lines here and there, so they made me chuckle. And I don't know. I think as contrived as it's all put together, and kind of stupidly as it's all put together, it's a stupid movie. It's a stupid comedy. It's supposed to give you stupid laughs, and I laughed like a stupid idiot during this movie. So what can you do? Um, the spoof satire aspect isn't as good as it was in the first film or in other spoof movies, but I thought it worked just fine. I like that finally we see a movie, especially at that time, that like just totally makes fun of like the creepy little kid character that was in everything. Like the Ring and uh, I can't even remember now. Like there were a lot. Trust me. In like the early 2000s, always this creepy little kid being like, yeah, I'm creepy. That you're gonna die, and I'm kind of psychic and stuff. So have kind of jokes like that where he's like, oh, you can smoke all you want. You're gonna get hit by a bus, or nobody's fooling that wig, or you're gonna get laid tonight, buddy. And then to his date, he doesn't know you're a man. Things like that. So I don't know, but again, maybe humor like that, it's not as accepted today. Where you know everyone's a little bit too PC, but whatever. I'm not gonna get into that. That's a little too much. If it's funny, it's funny. This movie was funny. I enjoyed it. You know what? Today, I feel like I can appreciate it a little bit more than I did back then because I don't know. Not just with all that stuff with how comedy is, but the fact that these spoof movies got so bad, irrecoverably bad, irrecoverably bad, irrecoverably bad, to the point where we may never see a good spoof movie again. Like I can't even think of the last good spoof movie because these stupid big productions with the most money, they'll pick up the concept. They'll take any popular movie and make it into some bullshit stupid spoof movie, and it's horrible and it sucks. So the Wayans, they just kind of came sort of out of nowhere with like someone would have done it eventually, obviously spoofing Scream, and I know he did last summer. Someone would have done it eventually, but the way they did it was quite brilliant, very funny. They created this whole franchise of the scary movie movies. Aren't all winners, but I'll give Scary Movie 3 a pass. I think it's okay. I really do. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's funny. I think you should check it out if you haven't, or if you haven't seen it in a while. Give it a look. And if you can, if you have a DVD you can find on YouTube or whatever, look up some of the making of stuff. It's quite interesting how much it changed, especially the last act of the movie, to kind of make it all fit, make it all put together. But anyway, I think I've said enough about Scary Movie 3. We're like getting close on like, what, 15, geez, like almost 18 minutes talking about this goddamn movie. So thanks for watching. More scary movies to review this month. Be sure to check out more. And until next time, I'll see you later.